And welcome back again. Yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander of Keeping It Honest. We don't just keep it real, we don't just keep it simple, we keep it honest. Yes, we're on live, and for your replay or rewatchables, we're not live, but just act like we are. If you have any questions or comments, you can email yours truly. It's parkerman2011 at gmail.com. Parkerman2011 at gmail.com. You can text me, leave a voice message, 216 702 3718, 216 702 3718. Hope everybody's doing good. On this show, if you're a first time person, we try to do things. We put on the left side, we put on the right side, and at the end of the day, we hope you decide. You may be mad at us, but prayerfully, we've given you the truth. Speaking of prayers, let's say a prayer right now. Dear God, we thank you for our day. We continue to thank you every day. Amen. Only show, really, that does a prayer at the beginning of the show and then gets into the gist of what they're talking about. So some people may think I'm kind of hard on Kamala. Some people may think I'm not, but I try to do all sides of the story. We've covered Trump rallies; they're interesting. We've covered Watts rallies. We've covered J.D. Vance rallies, and we have even covered Ms. Harris rallies. So she had that CNN interview, which was very interesting to say the least. So you wonder after she does that interview, is she more pumped to go and do rallies? Well, she's at New Hampshire doing a rally, and I call it the Small Business Rally. So we're going to join her and we're going to see what she's talking about. And as she's talking, we're going to interject a little bit. And here she is coming from, looks like the back of a parking lot. Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, waving. You're watching Keeping It Honest with yours truly, Anthony Parker, as she talks small business owners. She's going to cover the election. So she's going to put out this new big deal, which you guys need to see regarding the small business. And I've had a small business background, so I'm going to say things while or in between her talking. Here's Miss Harris at the rally in New Hampshire.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Good afternoon, Northampton. Oh, my goodness. Can we hear it for Nicole and Throwback Brewing?
And you hear her smile even when she's talking. Her signs say opportunity,
Hi,
economy.
thank you. Wow. Thank you all. Thank you. It's so good to be back in New Hampshire. Thank you all. Thank you.
I guess she's thankful.
And Doug sends his love to everyone as well. Oh, thank you, everyone. Nicole, thank you. You guys are just so extraordinary, and I applaud the way you do the business that you do and the love that you do in giving community. I love our small business owners. It is what you do. I'm going to talk a bit about you in a minute, but you are part of the fabric, the essential fabric of a community that cares about one another. Thank you for everything. Thank you. And thank you to the outstanding congressional delegation, Senators Shaheen, Hassan, Representatives Pappas and Custer, and all the leaders who are here today. Thank you all. Thank you all for taking the time to be here this afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, with the thank you. Let's go. Do this. Come on.
So before I begin, I do want to say a few words about this tragic shooting that took place this morning in Winder, Georgia. We're still gathering information about what happened, but we know that there were multiple fatalities and injuries. And, our hearts are with all the students, the teachers, and their families, of course. And we are grateful to the first responders and the law enforcement that were on the scene. But this is just a senseless tragedy on top of so many senseless tragedies. And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is, we've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. So we will continue, of course, to send our prayers and our thoughts to the families and all those who were affected, including, I'm going off script right now, but listen, at the last year, I started a college tour, and I traveled our country meeting with our young leaders, right? And so it was college-age young leaders. So I did trade schools, colleges, universities, community colleges. By the way, I love Gen Z. I just love Gen Z, right?
You're voted.
But I'll tell you, one of the things that I asked every time I went to the auditorium, and it would be filled with these young leaders, students, and I'd ask them, raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. And for the young leaders who are here who are raising their hand, I'm telling you, every time the auditorium was packed and almost every hand went up. A lot of us, I'll speak about myself, we had, I grew up in California, earthquake drills, we had fire drills, but our kids are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential, and some part of their big, beautiful brain is concerned about a shooter busting through the door of the classroom. It does not have to be this way.
It doesn't have to be this way, but why is it? We keep talking about this, whether it's Democrats or Republicans. It doesn't have to be this way. So far, at this time, there have been 29 school shootings in 2024. Last year in 2023, there were almost 50. That broke a record. We still got some months to go for this. So what do we have to do? How much of it is mental illness? How much of it is bullying? And letting you know that the shooter reportedly was a 14-year-old girl. As details develop, we're going to know more about this. But why does this have to continue? Whether you're Democrat or Republican, the answer is why.
It does not have to be this way. And, this is one of the many issues that's at stake in this election. So New Hampshire, we have 62 days to go. 62 days to go. And I'm going to tell you what you already know. This race is going to be tight until the very end. So please, let's not pay too much attention to the polls, because we are running as the underdog. We know what they're capable of on the other side. The only thing we can take for granted is the love that we as Americans have for each other, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us.
But if the country is divided and it's going to be that close, half want Trump, half want Harris, then this country is divided. How do you get the majority of Americans to vote for that one person? They say they're the underdog, but don't believe in polls. So why do they say they're the underdog?
And we've got some hard work ahead, but we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And so we are up for the task, and with your help, we will win in November. We will win in November. And that, in large part, is because we know what we stand for. And when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for.
So make sure you put that on your website with policy issues so we really know what you stand for. Keeping it honest.
We love our country and we believe in the promise of America. That's so much of what I think brings us all together this afternoon. We believe in the promise of America, and that includes a topic we're going to discuss today, which is what I call an opportunity economy, building an opportunity economy. And my vision of an opportunity economy is one where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed, where everyone, regardless of who they are, where they start, can build wealth, including intergenerational wealth, where workers are treated with dignity and everyone has the freedom to join a union if they choose.
So my thing is, you were in office for 3.5 years. This opportunity economy, which a lot of people were wondering, what exactly is that? You're about to tell us today what it is, but didn't you and Joe sit down and did you ever say, hey, I got this idea, Joe, about an opportunity economy? Did he shut you down? Or was it something that you said, wow, I'm going to be running? Let me get my ideas going right now because Joe never gave me a chance and he told me to go.
Where we remove barriers to opportunity so anyone who wants to start a business can have access to the tools and the resources they need to do that. I believe, and I said it before to Nicole, I believe America's small businesses are an essential foundation to our entire economy. Think about it.
That's already true.
Small businesses in our country employ half of all private sector workers. Half of all private sector workers own or run a small business or work for a small business. They do trillions of dollars of business every year. They generate revenue that helps repair our roads and pay our teachers. And you know,
look at the guy with the hat.
For all of those who are or know of small business owners, the thing I love about you is that you're not only leaders in business, you are civic leaders. You are community leaders. You are mentors. You hire locally. You believe in the community and you're part of the glue of the fabric that holds communities together. You provide the local meeting space. You are the types of folks where you know who your regulars are, and when someone's walking in the door and you can tell they've had a bad day, you know exactly what they need. Isn't that the best of who we are?
But let me know how many small businesses in your community are like that, where they care, you're getting something and go to the store and they're like, hey, Ed, seems like something's wrong with you. Um, are you okay? By the way, the donuts are $2. I mean, that would be the perfect community where small businesses really care about their community.
Isn't that the best of who we are? And I've met so many entrepreneurs across the country who take the incredible leap of faith that is required to start a small business. Folks who put their life savings on the line and work through the weekends and holidays because they aren't just building a business, they're pursuing a dream. They're building a better future for their employees and for the people they love in their communities. And by extension, they're building a stronger middle class and a stronger America for us all.
But how many small businesses really realize the importance of them pursuing their dream is really helping others pursue their dream? That's an idea.
And so all of this is why, as president, one of my highest priorities will be to strengthen America's small businesses. And here I am in New Hampshire to announce a few elements of my plan to do that.
So we've been waiting for plans. And you see the people back there, they've got their opportunity economy billboards. So let's listen into her plan because it sounds like it will be very good. But is it just a plan to get her in office? Or is it a plan that she wants to make a reality?
So first, We're going to help more small businesses and innovators get off the ground. Okay. Now, I'm setting what some I'm sure are going to call a very ambitious goal, but you know what? I think we should admire ambition in each other. So I want to see 25 million new small business applications by the end of my first term.
25 million applications in 4 years, that would average to about 5.1 million every year. Now that's an interesting I guess achievement if you can do it. 5 million applications a year.
And to help achieve this, we will lower the cost of starting a new business. So here's the thing. On average, it costs about $40,000 to start a new business in America. That is a great financial barrier for a lot of folks, and it can hold entrepreneurs back. And the current tax deduction for a startup is just $5,000. Okay? So then you got to make up the delta there. Got to figure out how you're going to do that. Not everyone has access to that kind of wealth.
That's true.
And capital. So part of my plan is we will expand the tax deduction for startups to $50,000.
That's amazing. Did that really happen?
It's essentially a tax cut for starting a small business. Second, my plan will help existing small businesses grow. We will provide low and no interest loans to small businesses that want to expand. And we will, and this is very important, cut the red tape that can make starting and growing a small business more difficult than it needs to be. More difficult than it needs to be.
That would be great. You can do that.
For example, we will make it cheaper and easier for small businesses to file their taxes. Similar to how individuals can take a standard deduction. You know, I said to my team, kind of like, now I'm going to date myself again because they no longer do it, but kind of like, you remember the 1040 EZ? Like that kind of idea, right? Like,
So
let's
easy?
just take away some of the bureaucracy in the process to make it easier for people to actually do something that's going to benefit our entire economy.
So easy for small businesses. Easy tax money.
Third, my plan will invest in small businesses and innovators throughout America. And here's why. We know that talent exists everywhere in our country, from rural towns to city centers. But not everyone has access to the financing, to venture capital, or expert advice.
Yes,
it's not that they don't have the skills. It's not that they don't have the work ethic. It's access to these resources. So under my plan, we will expand access to venture capital. We will support innovation hubs and business incubators. And we will increase federal contracts with small businesses. And we will have a particular focus on small businesses in rural communities, like right here in New Hampshire.
Economic opportunity, economy.
Finally, my plan will make our tax code more fair while also prioritizing investment and innovation. So let us be clear. Billionaires and big corporations must pay their fair share in taxes.
What you gonna make them pay their fair share?
Because here's the thing. It's just not right that those who can most afford it are often paying a lower tax rate than our teachers and our nurses and our firefighters. It's just not right.
Not right.
It's just not right.
Not right.
So that's why I support a billionaire minimum tax and corporations paying their fair share. And while we ensure that the wealthy and big corporations pay their fair share, we will tax capital gains at a rate that rewards investment in America's innovators, founders, and small businesses. So here's the detail.
Okay.
If you earn $1 million a year or more, the tax rate on your long-term capital gains will be 28% under my plan, because we know when the government encourages investment, it leads to broad-based economic growth and it creates jobs, which makes our economy stronger. Now compare that to what Donald Trump plans.
Here we go. Ooh, as they say.
He intends to cut off federal programs that give loans to small businesses.
I can't believe that. We'll have to look into
He
that.
plans to give billionaires massive tax cuts and to cut corporate taxes by over $1 trillion, even as they pull in record profits. His plans will add more than $5 trillion to the national debt, and that is on top of the $2 trillion tax cut he gave them when he was president and when he exploded the deficit. We know how to count. We know how to count. And now he also wants to impose what in effect is a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities, which will skyrocket the cost for families and small businesses. And New Hampshire, on top of all of this, if Donald Trump were to win in November, he intends to end the Affordable Care Act, which would significantly increase costs on small businesses, as we know. And, well, you know what? The courts are going to handle that, and we will handle November. How about that? How about that?
I like that. You do you. Let the courts do them.
That's how we'll handle that. How about that?
Keep it honest. Look at the bottom of the screen.
But think about it. It wants to end the Affordable Care Act, taking us back to a time when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. You remember what that was? Children with asthma, breast cancer survivors, grandparents with diabetes. So, yeah, look, we are here to tell him and them we are not going back. We're not going back. We're not
There you
going
go,
back.
audience. Behind you. They're not going back. You're watching Keeping It Honest.
No, we are not, and we will move forward because ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom. And it is a fight for freedom. Now, I don't have to tell the folks of New Hampshire, the live free or die state, you know the importance of individual freedoms, fundamental freedoms. You know how hard people fought for these freedoms and that they are foundational to who we are and what we stand for as America, including the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government telling her what to do.
That part is true. Your own body. Take care of it.
And understand how we got here. Understand how we got here. And of course, we're not going to fall for the gaslighting he's pushing, right? When he was president, Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as he intended, they did. And now, in more than 20 states in our nation, there is a Trump abortion ban. Many with no exceptions, even for rape and incest, which is immoral. Immoral.
Yes.
And let us agree, and I know we do, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government should not be telling her what to do with her body.
Amen to that. It's your own body. I agree on that. You're watching Keeping It Honest. Yours truly, Anthony.
And if he wins, you can be sure Donald Trump will go further. And he will sign a national abortion ban. And you know, Project 2025 which I just,
Everybody's
can
talking
you
about it.
believe they put that thing in writing?
900 pages. Look it up.
And under Project 2025, he would create a national anti-abortion coordinator, which would force states, this is unbelievable, right? Which would force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. You know what they are making really quite clear? They just don't trust women. They just don't trust women. But we trust women. We trust women.
Look into Project 2025. We've been doing some shows on that. Look into it, read about it, research it, and maybe that will give you a better idea who you want to vote for.
And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Across our nation.
It's interesting, the power of the pen. Now you can make a law or take away a law.
Across our nation, and I've been traveling for many, years actually, and certainly months most recently. Across our nation, I'm telling you, we are witnessing a full-on attack on hard-fought, hard-won fundamental freedoms and rights, including the freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride.
Very controversial issues.
And so here's what I don't have to tell the folks of New Hampshire, because you know it so well, it's part of your DNA. Generations of Americans before us, they fought for freedom and they led the fight for freedom in our country. And now the baton is in our hands. The baton is in our hands. So let us understand, which we do, our purpose at this very moment. Let us remember the broad shoulders upon which we stand and the traditions of this very fight that have led to what we have been able to accomplish. And let us understand then that when we say fight, it is a fight for something, not against something. It is for something.
And they're fighting for freedom. So does that mean in the last 3.5 years they didn't have freedom?
That's what we're talking about when we talk about a new way forward. This is for something. And so, as an example, let us finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. Let us finally pass an assault weapons ban and universal background checks and red flag laws. Because we are clear on that point, it is a false choice to say you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I know we need reasonable gun safety laws in our country.
Yes, you do.
And there's another point that I'd like to stress about this election in 24. This is not 2016 or 2020.
No.
The stakes are even higher this time for a number of reasons, but I'm going to mention one in particular. What the Supreme Court recently did when they basically just told the former president that going forward, he will effectively be immune no matter what he does in the White House.
But what if he's not in the White House?
But let's take this seriously and understand what it means. Before, at least, there might have been the threat that there would be consequence and accountability. With that ruling, what this means is that almost explicitly, he has been told no consequence. And imagine, just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails.
Woo.
Just imagine with no guardrails. He has openly vowed to be a dictator on day one. He has said he would end the independence of the Department of Justice, the United States Department of Justice,
By the
so he can
2025?
have the unchecked power to seek vengeance against people who disagree with him.
Mm.
He even called for, I'm going to quote now, the termination of the Constitution of the United States of America.
Can you do that?
Let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States of America should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States.
You have to find out if you really did this.
Never again. So I'll end where I started. When it comes down to it, we are all here together because we love our country.
Mm-hmm.
We love our country. And we know the privilege and pride that comes with being an American. And I do believe it is one of the highest forms of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. That is how we realize the promise of America.
You're watching Keeping It Honest with you, Anthony Parker.
And so with that being said, I ask New Hampshire, are you ready to have your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. God bless you.
And there you have it. Harris's rally dealing with small businesses and how we can help the small businesses. Now, if you're a small business, if you see an advantage of that, are you going to vote for her because of that? What do you think? Keeping it honest, yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander. She's in New Hampshire doing a rally. We decided to cover that and give our perspective in between. Let me know what you think about it. Text me, leave a voicemail, 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. Email me, parkerman2011 at gmail.com, parkerman2011 at gmail.com. This election time is going quick. We're trying to give you all sides, the Trump side, the Harris side, prayerfully the truth, you decide. Use us as cliff notes, and then go check up, follow up with some of the stuff we talked about. We do news events, live, taped. We do short as 5 seconds, and long forms as long as 5.5 hours. Ooh. So go to our Patreon page, continue to support us, type in patreon.com, and then look up Keeping It Honest. And on that page, we have 3 tiers, kind of like PBS, and you can decide how much you want to contribute through those 3 tiers. We thank you. If it wasn't for you guys, we would not be doing this. Thank you for letting us advance. We get a lot of comments. We respond to the comments on this right here. We thank you, phone. Love the comments. Keep them coming. Hit the like, hit the share, and especially hit the subscribe button. Keep us going. Let us be one of the best shows out here that gives you different stories from a Parker twist. You may have some of the same stories that you've seen, but we put a spin on it for you. I'm Anthony Parker. Keep your head up, never look down, always believe in yourself, and therein will lie your answer. We don't just keep it simple. We don't just keep it real. We keep it honest. God bless.